¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
Hey everyone, Edgar here with CHIRLA TV, and I just wanted to talk with you all a little bit about what has been going on for the past 35 years. You know, there's been huge advocacy, blood, sweat, and tears, and for now it looks like our main goal is coming to fruition. It seems hard to believe, but we are close to achieving the justice sought after by the millions of immigrants in this country. And to talk about what this goal is and where we stand today, we're joined by the executive director of CHIRLA and a good friend of the show. She constantly comes here with us to share the insights, the nitty gritty, Angelica Salas. Hi, Angelica.
Hi, Edgar. How are you? And hi, Karen. Great to see both of you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
So we have so many questions about what's happening right now in immigration, starting off with the new bill introduced by Democrats. It's called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. Angelica, can you share more about what's going on now in immigration?
Well, the first thing I want to say is thank you to every single person who went out and voted, because your vote transformed our political reality. What it did is it created an opportunity for us to be having the conversation about positive immigration reform. For the last 4 years, what we saw was just a lot of pain and suffering from our communities, detentions, deportations, family separations, and you rejected that as voters. And now we have a new president, President Biden, a new Vice President Kamala Harris from our state of California. And the first thing that happened was that President Biden introduced a vision for a new immigration reform law. And that vision was put forward under the banner, the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. This proposal is very important because it's a very expansive set of reforms that make our system more just and more equitable. The first thing about the U.S. Citizenship Act is that it legalizes individuals who are here in this country undocumented. And it does so in various ways depending on the population. But in addition to that, it also reforms our family unity system. Right now, people from Latin America, especially Mexico, people from Asia, especially the Chinese and the Indian community, and also African nations, what ends up happening is when we put forward a petition for our families, let's say I'm a U.S. citizen and I have the right to petition for my family members, my spouse, my U.S. citizen children, or also individuals who are my father or my brothers and sisters, I have to wait a long time if I'm a person from the countries that I've described, sometimes 2 decades. And so this bill, what it does, it's so important, it finally creates equity in accessing the family unity system. So somebody from Europe can, petition their family right away. So it increases how many visas are available for many of these countries that for a long time have been shut out of that. And then the other important component of this proposal is it also looks at the root causes of migration. It says, well, why are people having to flee their home countries? Well, it's because of poverty, it's because of violence, it's because of war, and really recognizing that in order for us to deal long-term with the issue of migration, we have to look at the home countries. And so this bill actually invests $4 billion into Central American countries that right now, as we see, it's just an exodus of individuals because they're seeking to survive.
Wow, there's so much to digest there. Thank you so much for all of what you're sharing right now, Angelica. We really appreciate the tenacity and the arduous work, el trabajo arduo que ha tenido la comunidad inmigrante, las comunidades de color, latinos, afroamericanos, todos que se han unido en esta voz para que este bill, que todavía no se pasa, it barely got introduced. And like you said, we're getting there, but we need to keep pushing forward. So vamos a aprender un poquito más sobre el trabajo que CHIRLA ha estado poniendo para que este bill se haga realidad, ¿ok? Ahorita regresamos en CHIRLA TV.
¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
So we're continuing the discussion and how CHIRLA is collaborating to push efforts for this bill. Angelica, can you talk to us a little bit about the work that CHIRLA is doing and how our viewers watching from home can get involved?
Right now, what we have a campaign that's called Yes to Immigrants Forward. In español es Sí a los inmigrantes avanzando. And so this campaign, what it does is it really says to our community, if we are to win immigration reform, if we are to win immigrant justice, we need you to get involved in this campaign. So the campaign brings together immigrant rights organizations from across the state of California, linked to other organizations across the country. It also it connects our members to this campaign by asking them to take action. The first thing that the campaign does, it asks them to sign a petition saying, I support immigrants moving forward. And so we are asking you to go to CHIRLA's webpage and go to www.chirla.org/yes immigrants forward FWD in order for you to get involved. There you're going to find a lot of resources, but what I need you to do is sign that petition. The other thing that the Yes to Immigrants Forward campaign does is try to uplift the stories of our community. And we need you to tell us your story. So please, get involved. Finally, in order to pass any law, and this is whether you want to pass the Immigration Reform Law, the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, the DREAM Act, farm worker legalization, or legalization for essential workers, the math is the same. In order to pass any law, you need 218 members of Congress to say yes. In order to move that piece of legislation to the Senate, you need 60 senators to say, we will take that law in and we will begin debate on that law. And then we need 51 votes in order for that law or that proposal to then come out of the Senate. Finally, we need a signature from the president. So many of you are hearing me across this country, and I need you to connect with your member of Congress, ensure that you are calling them and saying, I support immigrants moving forward. I support the U.S. Citizenship Act. I support the DREAM Act. I support farm workers and their legalization. I believe essential workers need to be legalized. And so each one of you has a chance. You need to know who your member of Congress is, and I need you to call them and let them know you support it. And that if you're a voter, tell them this is what I voted for. I voted for you to say yes to immigrants moving forward.
And the important thing about the stories is that it is important to notice that how we got here, right? The fact that for over 35 years since CHIRLA's inception, there have been changes to the immigration laws, but not a positive progressive change as we're seeing now.
Well, the first thing I want you to know is that CHIRLA started 35 years ago after the passage of the Immigration Reform and Control Act. That law legalized 2.7 million individuals who were living in this country undocumented. My family benefited from this. My uncles, my aunts. I was a 15-year-old helping my family apply for this change. And I know that lives changed because of it. And so we want that to happen. But then what happened is across our states, an anti-immigrant movement moved forward, very much connected with the Republican Party that saw anti-immigrant rhetoric and action as something beneficial to move their political agenda. So we had changes in 1996 that were anti-immigrant in major change in the law. Again in 2001, right after the September 11th attacks that further criminalized immigrants, and that has just continued. Do you know that in our borders every year, in terms of enforcement with ICE and with the Border Patrol, we're spending $28 billion a year of our tax dollars. That needs to change. So what this bill does this first now, the U.S. Citizenship Act, is for the first time it doesn't include enforcement because our community has suffered for all of these years, punishment, detention, deportations. And so it's important that we come out of that. But it can't be done in all of these years. All I know is it can't be done just because we wish it to be so. In order for us to change the reality, it takes hard work. It takes a commitment to justice. It means that we get out of our seats and out of our homes. And I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but if we really want justice in this country, our Black brothers and sisters have demonstrated to us what it takes. And so this is about families being united. The last thing I want to say is this proposal has not yet passed. And so the suffering continues. People are being deported. There are children sleeping in our border in tents trying to come in to seek refuge. There are people languishing in detention center. We still have children in detention centers. We need to change this. And you can do it. And see, that's the thing. You can be part of this change. And that's what the campaign, Yes to Immigrants Forward, is all about. It's about you taking action on behalf of our community. And not only will immigrants win, the country will win. The world will win because what we're doing is creating a fair, a modern, and a humane immigration system that will be accessible and fair to all.
Angelica, yes, it's all about the power of the people. Mujeres poderosas, jóvenes poderosos, todos unidos aquí para salir adelante. Y ahorita regresamos para seguir hablando sobre esta campaña de sí a los inmigrantes, Yes Immigrants Forward, y hacia dónde vamos, ¿ok? No se despeguen.
¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
We're continuing the conversation. Queremos saber un poquito más. Hay muchas personas que nos están viendo de casa y son su primera vez como involucrándose en ese trabajo. Hay un poco de temor. ¿Cómo puedo buscar mi representante? A veces no tenemos las herramientas para buscar. Un estigma, tenemos miedo. Pero sé que es importante. Angélica, ¿puedes compartir cómo pueden contactar su representante para presionarlos para que apoyen este bill? ¿Cómo podemos continuar esta conversación para que en verdad seamos una fuerza? Y compártenos más, ¿qué podemos hacer en este momento?
Bueno, lo primero que les quiero decir a todos es que nuestra Constitución dice que todo mundo cuenta. Y entonces usted está representado por alguien, y no independiente de su estatus migratorio, de un representante de la Cámara Baja y el Senado, porque esto está basado en las personas que viven en su estado. Así que todo el mundo puede participar. Una vez más, les hemos dado información de cómo puede ir a la página de web a encontrar su congresista o senador, pero también le estamos dando un número que usted puede llamar y decir, yo vivo, y le van a preguntar su código postal y para verificar que usted es un constituyente, porque usted viviendo en esa área es un constituyente de ese representante, y nomás decir, yo apoyo. Y dígale a sus amigos, a sus vecinos que también apoyen. I just want to say that everybody can be involved, independent of their immigration status. And it's never too early to get involved. So we've given you information about how to go to the website and find who your member of Congress is. We're also giving you a number that you can call. It's called the Capitol Switchboard, so that you can also connect with your member. The way our Constitution functions is that we are represented independent of our status by these members of Congress. So they're going to ask you your zip code usually when you're having this conversation, just so that they know that you do live in the area. So be ready for that. But lo que yo quiero decirle a toda nuestra gente es, los necesitamos. Necesitamos su granito de arena, necesitamos su voz para poder ganar una reforma justa y honesta para nuestra comunidad, algo que nos hemos merecido por tantos años. Así que, por favor, haga su parte para ganar la reforma migratoria.
Ya lo articula muy bien usted, Angélica, siempre dándonos toda la información completita, todo lo que necesitamos saber. Ya lo escucharon aquí, familia, por favor, visiten chirla.org. únanse a la organización, siempre pueden unirse como miembros a CHIRLA y de esa manera impulsar el movimiento inmigrante. No necesitan ser ustedes ya inmigrantes, no necesitan ser hijos de inmigrantes. Si ustedes no se consideran eso, pero se consideran aliados del movimiento, pues igual, la manera hay que poner todo en la línea. Únanse a la organización de CHIRLA, chirla.org, y hagan sus llamadas. Si no tienen una computadora, si no tienen un sistema operativo, pues rápido agarrar el teléfono, a llamar a sus representantes. Si no saben dónde localizarlos, pueden comunicarse con algún familiar que sepa. En las bibliotecas también pueden llamarles para que les digan toda esta información. Así que comuníquense, actívense y sean parte del movimiento, porque aquí estamos todos, y sí a los inmigrantes. Yes to Immigrants Forward. Vamos hasta adelante y a la meta. Claro que sí. Muchas gracias, Angélica, por acompañarnos hoy.
Un placer estar con todos ustedes, contigo, Edgar, y también con Karen. Un placer.
Karen, muchas gracias.
A ustedes y que tengan bonito día. Adiós.
Ya escucharon. Llámenos y actívense.
¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos? ¿Quiénes somos?
So we're continuing the conversation. Given that we're in a global pandemic, what are different ways that our audience members watching us from home, how can they engage right now? Allies, people directly affected. ¿Cómo son diferentes maneras que, aunque no puedan votar, cómo pueden continuar la conversación para continuar que este bill pase y se haga ley? ¿Qué podemos hacer?
Well, the first thing is that this is a moment you're home, so you can be calling. So this is an important thing that you can do. You can actually go to house.gov/find your representative, and there they're going to tell you who your member of Congress is. So we need to drive thousands of calls into Congress, letting them know. And I'm not going to even say thousands, millions of calls into Congress, letting them know there's 11 million people who could benefit from this bill. So we need millions of people taking action. Le digo a nuestra comunidad, yo sé que estamos en medio de una pandemia, pero aquí es donde reina la creatividad. Es tan importante que ustedes puedan llamar a sus miembros del Congreso. Ellos todavía están recogiendo su teléfono y necesitamos millones de personas llamando a sus miembros del Congreso diciéndoles que ustedes demandan de ellos un voto a favor de la reforma. But there are other things that we can do. For example, we're going to be doing a digital town hall on March 3rd. So keep posted on those details. You can go to our website, www.chirla.org. Again, /yes to Immigrants Forward, FWD, where you can find information about this digital town hall that we're going to have with Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, who is actually the author on the House side of the U.S. Citizenship Act. The other thing that is important for us to note is that we can also do car caravans. So we've already had several car caravans as part of the Yes to Immigrants Forward campaign. We're going to have a national caravan that's going to start from Washington, D.C. all the way, from Washington State all the way to Washington, D.C. Ustedes se pueden involucrar. Vamos a tener, por ejemplo, foros digitales a través de Zoom y estas plataformas nuevas que hemos aprendido durante esta pandemia. Vamos a tener una de estas audiencias con nuestros miembros del Congreso el 3 de marzo. Más información lo pueden encontrar en nuestra página de web www.chirla.org. Pero también quiero decirles que va a estar con nosotros la congresista Linda Sánchez. Ella es la autora de la Acta de Ciudadanía del 2021 y va a estar ahí para a responder a muchas de sus preguntas. Y también hemos hecho muchas caravanas y protestas en carro. de una manera segura, así que vamos a tener una nacional, así que espérenos en su lugar, en su estado. Esta caravana va a empezar en el estado de Washington y va a terminar en Washington, D.C. Va a pasar por estados como California, Arizona, Colorado, etcétera. Así que ahí los esperamos. Es muy importante que ustedes se involucren durante este tiempo, aunque es durante una pandemia. Y también quiero en este momento mandarles a todos ustedes mis condolencias que han perdido un ser querido durante esta pandemia. Mucha de nuestra gente ha sufrido porque nosotros somos trabajadores esenciales trabajando en este momento cuando la situación es tan difícil. I also want to send my condolences during this time, during this pandemic, because so many of our loved ones have been lost to this pandemic. Most of our folks are frontline workers, essential workers who keep working during this time. So I just really want to say that it's important that we honor their lives with advancing social justice and inclusion and a new tomorrow for the generations now and the generations to come.
Siento que es muy, muy importante lo que está compartiendo con nosotros, Angélica, es de que una vez más que toda la comunidad se involucre, todas las firmas que se necesitan, por favor, todas las peticiones que necesitamos, y si están en casita, si tienen la oportunidad, tienen un tiempecito extra, ya sabemos que muchos de ustedes están trabajando arduamente, intentando ahorita conseguir todo el dinero necesario para pagar la renta y todos los biles, pero si hay un momentito que tengan, pues claro, firmar, dar su firma y hacer las llamadas, como dijo Angélica, llamar a sus congresistas, a todos sus representantes políticos para que digan sí a los inmigrantes, porque eso es algo muy, muy necesario. Y como dice, la creatividad que tiene la comunidad y esta caravana, estamos muy, muy emocionados por esta caravana. Dependiendo en dónde esté en este momento, es que la gente se una desde Washington a Washington, de la W a la W. Esto va a estar excelente. Y ahí nos vamos a estar viendo. Espero en unos momentitos más vamos a regresar para decirles un poquito más de cómo se pueden involucrar aquí con nosotros en CHIRLA TV.
¿Quiénes somos?